Hello, everyone, and welcome again. It is night 2 for Wrestlemania 39 in Hollywood. I'm your host, Dave Westbrook, along with Justin Yent. We are with the Filter Free Popcast and PWmania.com, and we are here for your pre-show for night 2. Justin, let's wrap through last night. We had a huge night for night 1 WrestleMania, and it was way better than what I expected in any way, shape, or form. We started off with John Cena and Austin Theory. Austin Theory picked up the win after a low blow on Cena. And, we kind of talked about that yesterday, how I thought that match would help build Austin Theory more than it would do anything for John Cena. I don't see Cena making it too much longer in the world of professional wrestling. How about you?
I don't, but I'm talking about a class act on his opening intro and his entrance last night with his Make-A-Wish kids in the entrance. I think that was truly a class act. If there's anyone else in the world of wrestling that is a better man than John Cena, I'd like to know. Truly a class act last night. He truly did a good job in the ring with Austin Theory. I thought the match was good. And at the end of the day, he had a heel move to make sure that he ended the match well with John Cena, and I think it puts over Austin Theory in a pretty good way.
Yeah, Cena stayed strong. He got Theory to tap out, but unfortunately the referee was knocked out at the time, so it didn't matter. Austin Theory picks up the win. He retains the United States Championship, and I think that's the right move. I think Austin Theory has a bright future in the world of wrestling, and I'm here for it. So we don't really need Cena with the United States title at this point in time. So
Agreed.
the match that I called the throwaway match yesterday was an absolute banger. The Fatal 4-Way with Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits, Alpha Academy, and the Viking Raiders. Absolute banger of a match. It was one that I didn't really care about. Street Profits got the win. Are they ever going to break the Street Profits up, or are they just going to keep meddling around in the tag team division? Because I really see Montez Ford moving on to being a single star.
I really thought last night was the night that they would actually start taking some of the dissension between the Street Profits. I actually gave the match to the Viking Raiders last night. But, Dave, I called it. I said that would not be the bathroom break of the evening. And it truly was a great match. Very good moves from Chad Gable. Top rope move from Braun Strowman hitting a high diving action onto one of the Viking Raiders. It was a huge, huge match from all participants. So definitely was a banger and a half.
Yeah, it was a really good match. Our third match of the night last night saw Seth freaking Rollins defeat Logan Paul. I think I called it. Seth Rollins would win. It didn't make sense for him to lose. He needs that. He needs to take the next step to get back up to the main event level. It was a good, fun match. I really enjoyed it. You saw the prime bottle that was seen throughout the match, so you kind of had to figure that was going to come into play at some point in time. KSI was in the outfit, in case you don't know, and that was a fun match all the way around. Logan Paul is incredible in the ring, and I hope that he re-signs with WWE and we get more of him, because he is really fun to watch. He's a great heel.
Yeah, you definitely have to give him his props. He put on a good match, and Seth again proved he can carry anybody. I think he can carry a paper bag through a match at this point. So,
yep. And we had father-son Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio. I saw this happening differently. I thought Dominic was going to pick up the win, and it was going to kind of be a swan song for Rey, but how about the entrances for both guys? Dominic Mysterio's entrance was perhaps the best entrance at WrestleMania Night 1 for sure. I love how they make it seem like he did legit hard time in jail. And it's so funny, and it's so well thought out and written, and I'm really loving it. I saw Dominic getting the win and Rey riding off into the sunset, but it doesn't look like that's what's going to happen. I'm guessing we're probably going to get another match between these two down the line.
Oh, yeah, and I think the inclusion of Bad Bunny probably at Backlash with him preventing Dominic Mysterio from cheating with the rope chain next month. So,
yeah, maybe we get some kind of Bad Bunny and Rey Mysterio versus Dominic and Damian Priest or something like that. I could see that happening.
I did have to give Dom street cred because he went in obviously last night into the Slammer and obviously killed somebody. He had the raindrop on his eye, so he did a lot of hard time within a night in LA. So
that was very well thought out, and I really loved it. And then you had Rey Mysterio's entrance with Snoop Dogg. We got the old Eddie Guerrero entrance song coming out, and Rey paying homage to Eddie. It was really good. I mean, that match was not dull at all. Dominic is, I mean, he's on fire right now. And the heat that he has with the crowd is just incredible.
Dave, I have to ask, though, how much more heat would Dominic have gotten coming out to Eddie's music with Rhea as the China figure in that we lie, we cheat, we steal?
I don't know. I mean, I think it worked with him playing off the convict gimmick. I think that worked better the way they did it. And I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was, you know, I think it was better for Rey to kind of do his Eddie stick there. So that was, I mean, well thought out all the way around. Everybody did a tremendous job there. Those were just it was some great matches.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but Vicky Guerrero tweeted out definitely saying that Eddie was smiling down from heaven. So definitely a good tribute overall. So.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, the heat that Dominic has with the crowd and the way he played up to his mom and sister throughout the match, that was good stuff, man. That was real good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What was our next match of the night? I'm drawing a blank here.
Let me put the card back up. So we had Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus versus Damage Control.
Yeah, I was wrong about that one. I thought Damage Control would get the win because Trish would end up turning, but there was no heel turn. So I wonder where they go with that from here. So yeah, I legit thought with what we had seen on Raw that we were going to get Trish Stratus turning heel and turning on Becky Lynch. And I kind of saw that Bayley would get the pin on Becky Lynch, not the other way around.
Yeah, even last night after they won and they were doing their celebration in the ring, I kept watching Trish because I was like, all right, well, maybe David's right. Maybe she is going to do a heel turn. But I have to ask, I mean, these heel stables continue to lose. What is the purpose if you're going to have your heel stables not be as dominant of factions like they used to be with the Four Horsemen and hell, even the Dungeon of Doom even had a dominant streak. So, you know, it almost is a question of what are they doing with their stables if they're not going to be so dominant.
Yeah, and then what I think was by far the match of the night, your new SmackDown Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley, defeats Charlotte Flair in an absolute banger of a match. I think we all saw it coming. We all saw that it's time for Charlotte to pass the torch on to somebody else for the interim. I mean, her career still has a long way to go as well, but it's time for them to start building up some new stars. And I don't know of one bigger than Rhea Ripley right now.
No, at 26, she's held every female's title in the WWE. I think she put on a hell of a match with Charlotte. Charlotte was a class act putting her over last night as well. If you saw after the match, Charlotte was smiling as Rhea was celebrating, but ultimately at the end of the day, both women went out last night and beat the hell out of each other like I predicted.
Yeah, that was
put on a great match.
After watching the show, I think that should have been, and what we were told yesterday that was going to be the main event of the show, and it ended up not being. I think that should have been the main event. That match was absolutely incredible. Those two women absolutely tore the house down, and they deserve every bit of respect that they earned last night because that was a hard-fought match, and they did a hell of a job.
Oh, yeah. Even that scary moment with the German suplex, and Charlotte ended up face planting it. So, I mean,
getting some good rug burn on top of her nose there. Yeah, that was
scary moments during that match. But I mean, ultimately, hats off to both women. Outstanding match. I think they definitely put on the match of the evening.
So our surprise match of the night, we got Miz and the returning Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee had recently said he didn't know if he was coming back to WWE, and He made a surprise appearance, got a little bit of help from San Francisco 49ers tight end George Kittle. Came in and gave him a hand. And Pat McAfee went over on The Miz. I was kind of wondering if Miz was going to get in on some action somehow, some way during this card. And it happened. So I think Miz deserves spots on WrestleMania because he's been there long enough. He's tenured and he's over. I mean, he's never going to be looked at as perceived as some kind of dominant force in professional wrestling, but I mean, he's a great heel. So he deserves to be spotlighted at WrestleManias and things like that at these big shows because he does any and everything that company asks of him. And you've never heard a negative thing about him other than, I guess, Chris Benoit didn't like him for eating chicken. So.
No, I agree. I think I was happy to see him get his props at WrestleMania. I think at first it didn't make sense for him to host it, but I mean, at the end of the day, I was glad to see him get his WrestleMania payday last night. So,
yep. And our night one main event saw Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens go over and defeat the Usos for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. I might be in the minority here. I did not like that match. We had this discussion last night and today. I was not a fan of the match. I didn't see much of a wrestling match there at all. It just kind of seemed like an absolute beatdown. And there were way too many super kicks and finishing moves that were just kicked out of, only for the faces to just miraculously win at the end. I would have preferred to see a strong tag team wrestling match between those four guys. I think they could have put on a banger without it just being a super kick fest. And so I'm probably in the minority. Everybody was happy with the way it ended. Well, at least the vast majority. I mean, there are a lot of Bloodline fans out there, but I think the vast majority of people are happy to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn go over. But I, for one, did not like the match. And I think between the four of them, I expected something a whole hell of a lot better, and it just didn't deliver at all to me.
Yeah, I'm a huge Bloodline fan, but I'm also realistic and I knew that the angle has to end at some point. And I think it was a good send-off of a storyline that has been well told and kind of solidifies the Usos as a great tag team and passes the torch to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, even if they are interim champs or
transitional champs.
Yeah, transitional champs. But ultimately, I think this was a great storyline wrap up. The one thing I stressed yesterday is that Triple H has done a hell of a job of long-term storyline telling, and this is another example of that yesterday.
Yeah, so liked the result, but was absolutely not a fan of that match in any way, shape, or form. And especially after seeing the banger that Charlotte and Rhea absolutely put on, I would have preferred that match had been the main event of night one because it was so much better, I thought, than the Usos and Zayn and Owens. So, I mean, we got this. The start of the end of the Bloodline is upon us.
The hard part, though, was following up a match like that regardless. I mean, at the end of the day, it could have been any of the bangers. You know, at the end of the day, it's how do you top that next match, right? And
yeah,
so
I'm
give
not
all
a fan.
Four of them credit for going out there and
I'm not a fan of one-way matches that are just. I mean, it kind of reminded me a lot of what you see with the Young Bucks sometimes. Just super kick after super kick after super kick after super kick, and kick out, kick out, kick out. And to me, it got old and it kind of drug on. And I would rather see a legit tag team match. So we didn't get it, but that's all right. It was a very good show from top to bottom. I mean, absolute amazing night one. I'm excited to watch night two and then to go back through and watch night one and night two over. Just because, I mean, and I haven't watched a WrestleMania over and I couldn't tell you how long. I think WrestleMania 24 is like one that I've watched over after seeing it originally, but I saw it live because I was actually there. So I had to watch it differently, but I can't tell you the last time I watched a WrestleMania again, especially in the era of the 6 and 7 hour WrestleManias where they just got to be too long over the course of one night. I've had no interest in watching them again. And this is one that I am very interested in watching again. I definitely want to see that fatal 4-way match again. It was a fun match to watch. I thought, the Mysterios put on a hell of a match. and especially Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. That was just an absolute. They tore the house down, and so that one deserves all the props. And I mean, just kudos to both of those women because they did one hell of a job.
No, I agree. And the nice thing is it segues nicely into today's event. We're starting off with Brock versus Omos. So let me know your thoughts on that today.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get. I think Brock goes over. I don't see any point in putting Omos over. They've made Omos look very strong in the build to this. This is obviously a match I don't see going longer than 5 minutes. So neither one of these are going to work a 5-star Meltzer Classic or anything like that. You're not going to see any kind of high flying moves or anything crazy, but I expect a lot of slams, punches, and suplexes, and that's going to be about it. But I see Brock getting beat down for a while and then kicking out of some good stuff and then miraculously pulling off an F5 and getting the win. You know, there's some talk that Brock Lesnar might be finishing up his time with WWE, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I still think with his very light workload schedule he's working and the amount of money they're paying him, I expect him to be around for another couple years. So he's still a huge draw.
To me, if you had to ask, like, what's the bathroom break match of the night, this would be it.
Match one.
Yeah. The rest of the card is going to be great. But, we said that last night about the tag team match, and it was a banger, right? So Brock has surprised us before. We were live at SummerSlam last year, and that was a hell of a barn burner between him and Roman Reigns. There was shit pulled out of that match that we didn't expect, right? So at the end of the day, ultimately, I do see Brock winning. I don't see him putting over Omos at this point. But this is a match that I could care less. The build-up has been weak, and I think this was just thrown together for
This is just a match to put Brock over on somebody big.
Yep.
I don't think Omos is going anywhere anytime soon, but I don't think they're ever really going to do much with him. He's very limited with what he can do. So other than being some type of monster type thing, they're not going to do much with him. I highly doubt we ever see Omos in like a big show type role where he actually wins titles or anything like that. I mean, he's still, for the most part, they put him on Raw and he beats Dolph Ziggler and jobbers and this, that, and the other, and he's never really been in anything significant. Had that quick feud with Bobby Lashley, but Bobby Lashley won that feud. So
right.
That's why I don't really see him defeating Brock Lesnar at this point in time. He's not ready for it.
No, I agree. The next match on the card is the women's showcase with Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez versus Natty and Shotzi versus Sonya Deville, Chelsea Green versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't see any team winning other than Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, or perhaps Liv and Raquel Rodriguez. I don't think Shotzi and Natalya have a chance, and I don't think Green and Deville have a chance either. I see probably either Shotzi or Green will be the one that take the pinfall. And it'll probably continue the Karen type angle for Chelsea Green, which I think has been great. She's been doing a hell of a job on TV. But if they're going to go with the rumored push of Raquel Rodriguez is supposed to be getting now, I mean, we might see some awesome shit with Raquel Rodriguez and Rhea Ripley coming up. You've got 3 very big, powerful women now in WWE with Rhea, Bianca Belair, and Raquel Rodriguez. So the future is very bright for the women's division in wrestling. It seems like Triple H has taken a liking to Liv Morgan as she's getting a lot more TV time, and she's been made to look a lot better than what she did in her first few years, especially part of Riot Squad and stuff like that. When she came to the WWE, she was kind of just there. Another pretty face, but she can work. She's doing a great job. She had a hell of a showing at the Royal Rumble this year. And it's just one of those things where depending on who's in charge, people get different pushes and they're portrayed differently on television. And I think Liv Morgan, her little title run last year was a little premature, but she ain't bad. She's not bad. And the girl has heart, and she obviously loves wrestling, so she's doing what she wants to do. And when you have that, I think it helps. She's not just some kind of supermodel that came out there and wants a quick paycheck. So I think ultimately Morgan and Rodriguez get the win.
I agree.
I hope this match is looked upon favorably like the men's was, because that was one hell of a match.
So let's go back to something you said about three powerful women right now with Bianca, Raquel, and Rhea currently. All three women actually have pretty good chemistry together from NXT. It's almost the same chemistry that the four horsewomen of NXT had, or the WWE had. So they can put on some banger matches together. They have not been given the opportunity to cross paths within the WWE yet. So only been held into the NXT arena. The other person that I would suggest that has not been booked strong, but is strong and is in this match is Shayna Baszler. And
Yes.
if they can put back the magic that they had with her in NXT on the main roster, and that was under Hunter's reign, we could have a beast within the women's division as well. So
yeah, I'm beginning to think if Rousey's heart's really in it. So, but Shayna Baszler was a monster in NXT and could definitely be somebody that could be a front runner for any of the titles on either of the brands. We went over this last night. I still think WWE needs to get rid of having two world titles, and they need to take either the Raw or Women's SmackDown Championship. They need to have some kind of unification match, and then they need to have a tournament to determine who is the Women's Intercontinental Champion. And you have two belts that way, and get rid of the two world titles. They need to do the same with the men's heavyweight title. There should only be one. There's talk that they're going to be splitting those up here before too long, but we're not going to get what I want, and what I want is to end the brand extension and just one show, your one complete brand of all the wrestlers, and you have two shows to work with, and not everybody has to be on every show every week. But too many belts in wrestling, and it's silly. Just too many belts. They gotta reel it in some.
Yeah. Well, I did want to point out before we move on to the next match, this is Natty's 11th WrestleMania wrestling. She is the only woman to wrestle 11 matches and will set a record for that. So,
but here's the kicker: has she ever won one?
I don't think so. That's the one thing I didn't research, but I know she is making history tonight in her 11th match. So tonight could
but that's good. You can have a hell of a career and not be the person who wins every single time. We've said this on our podcast before, but we all know wrestling's predetermined.
Yeah.
And we all know you didn't really go out there and get your ass beat up. It's a business. And go out and do what's best for business. Scott Hall / Razor Ramon didn't care. Pay me. I'll do whatever you want. Pay me. And he put on some hell of performances at WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Monday Nitro, Monday Night Raw. The guy did it all, and he didn't care about winning. He didn't have to win every single match. So it's nice to see people like Natty that do what's best for the business. And she's had longevity. Look how long her career's been. She's made a lot of money, and she's living this dream and getting to travel the world for free and do all these great things. And like you said, this is her 11th WrestleMania. Yep. And that's unheard of. It's unheard of for anybody to be in a business or a company for as long as she has in the terms of professional wrestling for 11 plus years and still be going strong, even if she doesn't hardly ever win. But hey, she's out there. They know that they can trust her to put on a good match when she has to. And it's just one of those things. So it's nice to see people that actually care about the business and not just always going over.
Yep. And she puts people over. I mean, that's the thing. She pays it forward like her family did as well. So we we talk about workhorse, and if we want to talk about workhorses, the workhorse title is next, which is the Intercontinental Championship, which has Drew McIntyre versus Gunther versus Sheamus.
Yeah, I think my pick on this is I think I think Drew McIntyre ends up winning the belt by pinning Sheamus. Then I think they'll end up feuding. McIntyre will probably turn heel. They'll end up feuding, and it keeps Gunther strong when he loses the belt, but he didn't lose the match per se, as in terms he was the one that's pinned. And I see bigger and brighter things for Gunther moving forward. I think Triple H really likes him, and I don't know how Vince McMahon didn't see something in him, because he's incredible. And if somebody's got to take a title off Cody Rhodes, I can't think of anybody better than Gunther.
Yeah, I think there's a reason we're friends and we book a lot very similar. I would not have Gunther get pinned in this match. I would not have Sheamus win either. Drew McIntyre is strong. It kind of wraps up his Clash at the Castle. I'm sorry, that was Sheamus.
Sheamus lost it.
Clash of the
Yeah,
Castle.
Drew McIntyre lost to Roman Reigns at Clash. Yeah,
this looks to wrap up that storyline, but I wouldn't give it to Sheamus at this point. I would make sure that they are continuing to fight for that Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, I think you can move forward with that belt having a lot of meaning now, because that belt kind of had died down for years, and it's back to where people seemingly are acknowledging that title exists. And you had a dominant champion like Gunther, and I mean, Sheamus or Drew McIntyre, they're big time names, and I think that it could be, they can help carry that Intercontinental title to new heights and keep that belt looking strong. And I think, Drew or Sheamus pinning the other helps that feud further along, and you can get more time out of it. So it's obvious that they want to go in different ways, because the guys haven't been getting along on TV. So they're going to fight good during this match. I expect this match to just be absolute, just hard hitting. These guys are going to be hurting tomorrow.
Oh yeah. They tweeted this morning, I think it was Sheamus, that it was going to be renamed Banger Mania for just this match. But Dave, you and I have seen Sheamus and Drew McIntyre since the FCW days. They have put on hell of a match since those days. They have amazing chemistry together. I see Gunther being elevated into a different role next year at Mania.
Yeah, I think Gunther's got a big time future as a main event star, and it's time to do it. I mean, he's not getting any younger. It's kind of like with Sheamus. Sheamus is in his 40s now. He's not getting any younger. So, but he's kind of in the twilight of his career. But what started out as a very slow build with him and Butch and Ridge Holland, once they turned him face, I mean, it really picked up, and they really have crowd support and people enjoy seeing them. So I hope this match lives up to the hype. I've never watched Walter or Gunther have a match where I left going, that was kind of okay. I think he's a superstar, and I can't think of anybody better to start a feud with your new champion, or to take a title off your new champion, than Gunther, and having a good dominant heel champion, because Gunther and Imperium are very good heels, and the way they're presented, they don't need to be faces. But Gunther also doesn't need to cheat to win or be a cowardly heel. So it's one of those things where they've got a lot of really good superstars right now. I mean, can you imagine some of the matches you have with Gunther, and you start bringing in Braun Breaker and things like that? I mean, there's a whole new era of people that are coming, and there's the future is very bright. Word on the street is that Endeavor is probably going to be purchasing WWE, with an announcement could be made as early as tomorrow, which wasn't really my first choice, but they've got a lot of big time superstars on their hands that they can work with here. and there's a lot they can do with these guys. So I mean, boy, I hope we get to keep the WWE Network or Peacock type gimmick for this kind of stuff to watch these matches, because I know personally I don't really want to pay $50 or whatever for wrestling pay-per-views anymore, as some of them are hit and miss. WWE usually doesn't miss with their premium live events, as they call them, but WrestleMania Night 1 was good. I expect WrestleMania Night 2 to hold up to it, but I think this match might be the one that's going to be a can't miss, because I just see these guys beating the shit out of each other.
I agree. And usually you don't like triple threat. So for
Mm-mm.
you to say that, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's been well documented that I'm not a fan of triple threats. I prefer one-on-one matches. I think too many times you see somebody take a little clothesline and then they're out of the match for the next 5 minutes, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think we need to have matches. I think this match could be on par with the triple threat match that we got at WrestleMania 20 between Benoit, Michaels, and Triple H. That is really something that really sticks out. I could see Imperium, if Gunther were to win, I could see Imperium playing a role in that, and building up a feud, a new tag team feud. But I'd like to see Imperium go after some tag titles. I wouldn't mind seeing a bloodline type storyline with Imperium, with Gunther being the dominant face or the dominant heel, who is the face of your franchise, with his Imperium lackeys that help him. Because even with all the help that Roman has gotten from the Usos and Solo Sikoa and things like that, he's still looked at as dominant. He's not looked at as a cowardly heel who gets countouts and things like that. So I think Gunther can play that role in the absence of Roman Reigns.
Agreed. So, Dave, our next match is Asuka versus Bianca. And this is for the Raw Women's Championship match. And let's hear your thoughts on that.
All right. So these two women could put on a banger just like Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair did last night. But I'm kind of right now, I'm tired. I'm kind of tired of Bianca as champion. I'm not tired of her personally, but I'm kind of tired of her as champion. I would like to see Asuka win this match, and for Bianca to have to chase for a while to give us something new. She's been champion for a year now, and it's one of those where it's like, okay, she's had her run. Let's let somebody else get their run. I don't want to see the fans start to turn on her as they bore from her being champion. But I think the way to do that is for Asuka to win. If Asuka needs to use the mist or whatever the case may be to help get her over at the end of the match, I'd like to see it. I don't know if that's the way they're going to go. So, but that's kind of the way I'm hoping it goes, is that Asuka picks up the win. Asuka's never had a very long-term dominant reign as champion other than her NXT reign. And I'd like to see her get a chance to shine. But eventually I'd like to see either Bianca Belair or Asuka meet up with Rhea Ripley in some kind of unification match and to turn this into one belt. But I don't think I'm ever going to get my wish anytime soon. But I can see this match being damn good. So Asuka's that good, and I think Bianca Belair's that good as well. I wasn't a big fan of Bianca Belair in NXT, but she's really turned me into a fan on the main roster. She does some pretty incredible shit, and she's a strong, strong woman. So, but I think it's time to take the belt off her after a year and to let her chase for a little while.
Yeah, so I see Asuka winning, and this would be Asuka's first WrestleMania win at that point. Additionally, I see one of these women turning heel tonight. It will add some spice to the Raw women's environment. Ultimately, it has gotten stale. We've gotten Becky, who's a face, Bianca, the top face of the Raw division. I think that's what's missing in Bianca. You've got to turn her heel before the audience does. So, in my opinion, you have either her turn heel to keep her title, or you have Asuka win and Bianca turn heel after.
I'd like to see Asuka turn heel to win the title. I think that's probably the best bet. We've got the new Asuka. She's kind of reverting back to her Japan ways with the new face paint and things like that, and the crazy type Asuka gimmick. And I think that would work as a heel. And that could go anywhere if they were to bring Becky Lynch back into the title picture to eventually defeat Asuka for the belt or whatever the case may be. You know, like I said, we have the draft coming up soon, so who knows who's going to end up where. But guaranteed, wherever Seth Rollins ends up, Becky Lynch will end up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This is one that I don't know who wins. I could see, people can write their case for both girls in this match. And it's one that I expect a lot of them. I know they can both work a good, strong match. But, boy, they got a lot to live up to after that match last night. I don't know if they're going to come close to that one.
Well, I can tell you both watched last night. Both are going to be motivated to either top that or do better. So I'm calling that everybody needs to watch this match. These ladies are going to want to outperform Rhea and Charlotte from last night. So
yeah,
definitely.
Charlotte proved that she can go. I hear there's rumblings that she might be taking a little hiatus to do a bodybuilding competition or something. But I don't know if that's true or not. But she definitely did look skinnier last night than she has in the past. So she might be cutting and getting ready for that. But it was a perfect ending to her reign that I thought was kind of thrown together. I haven't been very impressed with this last Charlotte title run, but.
Well, you talked about that, but, you also talked about not being impressed with the Rousey, right? She saved us from Rousey having the title. And so, yes, there could have been others that deserved it as well, but I think a shock and awe of having Charlotte Flair back before the Rumble was a good thing to have. So,
yeah, I want to see Raquel Rodriguez get a push like what is being mentioned. So I think she's that good. She was very, very, very good in NXT. And, you get used to some of these people from the way you see them in NXT and how they're built up through Triple H's system. And then they come and Vince would use them completely differently. But, it's kind of like, I don't know if I ever really saw much out of Baron Corbin in NXT under Triple H. And Vince loved him. And Vince is now no longer in charge, and Baron Corbin's buried right back down the depth chart. And kind of the same with Elias. Elias I never saw him win a match in NXT under Triple H. He goes to the main roster and he becomes somebody that Vince saw something in and pushed him up a little bit. And now he's back, and at least they got rid of that stupid Ezekiel gimmick because that was just terrible. But I don't know. I mean, I think Triple H really likes Asuka. I think that's pretty evident that he likes her style. I mean, she never even lost in NXT. So I think ultimately, I think WWE screwed up when they had her win the Royal Rumble and then lose to Charlotte Flair at her first WrestleMania. I think that they made a huge mistake there, and Asuka lost some of her mystique. But they can build it back. It's professional wrestling. Shit happens all the time. So it can be done. So, I mean, look at Becky Lynch. When she first made her main roster debut, she was nothing more than a mid-carder at best. And she wasn't ever taken seriously. She was somebody that could work, and she was in the mid-card. And then the man happened, and she skyrocketed in popularity. She was, I mean, by far at one point, the most popular superstar in WWE, male or female. So, but we'll see. You never saw much out of her through Triple H either, though. So will he continue with some kind of Becky Lynch type push, or will they be kind of pushing her back down the card? Because it's kind of shocking. It's kind of disheartening to see, though, out of 13, 14 matches, however many end up being on the WrestleMania card, that there are no undercard female singles matches. And I think that's still something that needs to be worked on. You have Brock Lesnar, Omos, Intercontinental title, Edge, Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and then all the matches last night. Any match with what was it? You had the women's match, the little triple threat match last night, or the the 3-woman tag team match, but there's no singles match of anybody else. And they have to get over that hump and start giving these girls time. They do it on Raw and SmackDown, but it's time that we start getting matches that aren't just complete throwaways, bathroom breaks, 3-minute matches, whatever, and start letting some of these girls start to build storylines through matches that aren't title matches.
I agree. I think the one thing, though, that Triple H has done better is getting more TV time for multiple people and building those characters back. What I do think is that at WrestleMania, it is let's throw everything at the wall, try to get as many people on a match card, and get WrestleMania paydays, which is what Vince has done previously.
Oh, yeah.
I do see it getting back to making smarter decisions like the takeovers were previously, making matches mean something. And so hopefully if Triple H stays with whoever buys the organization, I truly see them in year 2 fine-tuning what they do with premium live events and making
I would really like to see a Triple H-led WWE without any Vince McMahon interference at all. If I had my wish, and I mean, I've been WWE diehard for as long as I've been alive. Vince McMahon was always king, but I think the game's passed him by. He's 77 years old, and it's time to stop. So I'd like to see Triple H actually get a chance to run the show with no outside interference, because if you think Vince McMahon doesn't have a say in what's going on, you're sorely mistaken. So there's no way that as long as Vince has any kind of power in WWE, that he's not meddling in any of this shit in any way, shape, or form. And I would like to see, because I truly believe that a couple years ago, NXT was the superior product to anything put on television. AEW, WWE, didn't matter. NXT was the superior product till they decided to, hey, we're going to do NXT 2.0, and it turned into a complete shit show. So, but, I mean, that's neither here nor there. But I want to see Triple H get his chance to shine and to do it his way. And for the love of God, give us new title belts, because these things are ugly as shit.
With a sale, I see that being in a monetary way of making more money for the new parent company. However, I do want to say that from word on the street, they have a long-term plan after WrestleMania, which is something they've never had before. They usually just piecemeal things together. So I am excited for not only the Raw after Mania, but what is in store ahead for the WWE Universe. Even more excited for the return of Hell in a Cell tonight at WrestleMania as Edge takes on the Demon Finn Balor. Dave, tell us your thoughts.
The only way this works is if Finn Balor goes over. Finn Balor has to go over in this match, or it's for naught. He looked strong as the Demon against Roman. The ending was stupid as shit with the ropes just falling out of nowhere that made zero sense. But Judgment Day has not won anything yet in terms of a feud. So why should anybody be taking Judgment Day seriously if they never beat anybody? I am going into this expecting to be pissed off at the end because Edge is somehow going to win. But Finn Balor needs this win. Edge doesn't need this win. There's ways to get around this with the help of Judgment Day or whatever for Finn Balor to get this win over Edge. And anything else does not make any sense to me, because if Finn Balor goes out there and loses to Edge again, he's worthless. Absolutely worthless. They've got to get a way to get Finn Balor to win this match.
I agree. I feel like the Judgment Day's victories started last night with Rhea. Unfortunately for Dom, he did not start it off strong. But I do see Demon Balor coming out of Hell in a Cell, continuing that streak. I see the only reason that Edge continued to come back was to help put talent over. I foresee the Judgment Day storyline with Edge ending tonight at Hell in the Cell. And that's really what Triple H was talking about, right? It was having Hell in a Cell in cap a storyline or being brought back for a reason. And I
and not just to
foresee
have a stupid pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
But if Balor doesn't win, there need not be any more Judgment Day.
I agree. So I foresee this being the end of the feud. I foresee Balor winning the feud and finishing it tonight in Hell in a Cell.
They can come out, right. They can come out. Balor can win the match. And as nefarious as it doesn't matter how he wins, Balor has to win.
Yes.
And they put Edge on the shelf. It's known that Edge has a part-time contract with WWE.
That's ending.
He's here for the big show. He can be put on the shelf through somehow, some way for a couple months till he wants to come back at SummerSlam or whenever. And he can come back and start a new feud with somebody else. And this can be forgotten about. Because just because he loses this match today doesn't mean he really lost the battle with Judgment Day, because he's beat them every step of the way so far. And so if Edge wins and then disappears off our TV like he's going to do, it doesn't help Judgment Day in any way, shape, or form. And WWE has lightning in a bottle with Finn Balor. I have been a huge Balor supporter from the get-go, and I really think he got a raw deal after winning the Universal Championship, but having torn up his shoulder during the match, and still finished the match, by the way, with that torn up shoulder. And then to being pushed back down the card, kind of like Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler finally got a run as the world champion and got a concussion, and they gave up on him. Well, why are you giving up on people just because they got injured? If Roman went out and tore his labrum and had to be on the shelf for 8 months, they're not going to bring him back as a jobber. So why would you invest the time and the energy into Finn Balor to have him come out, win that belt? He got hurt, and then you've never used him properly since. He's never been used right on the main roster other than his initial couple months in the company. And it's very disheartening because that dude can go.
I will say this. The one thing that I can guarantee out of this match that will not piss off you or I will be both of their entrances into Mania.
Yes.
They are both known for their entrances. And I will tell you, we have not seen the Demon in a very long time. I know he is dying to put it on the grandest stage of them all. And then Edge, who is also known for amazing entrances on the grandest stage of them all, which could possibly be his last, right? So both of them are set to bring it tonight when it comes to their entrances. I see this being a good match. And I know, at the end of the day, you may be upset with the outcome, but at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to Hell in a Cell being brought back to WrestleMania.
Yeah, and they're doing it right. Hell in a Cell needs to be a featured match during a show with somebody trying to end a feud, and not just some stupid pay-per-view where we're throwing it together. So I'm very happy that Triple H is doing that. But this is the one match of tonight that I have a vested interest in, and I want to see end a certain way. But guess what? It's entertainment. If it doesn't end the way I like it, I'll be there tomorrow.
I was about to say, I doubt you'll miss the Monday after WrestleMania.
I'll be there tomorrow. I'll just be like, you know what? That was stupid. Whatever. Because it doesn't make, the way they've used Judgment Day has not made any sense to me.
No.
But
we don't also get paid to write the scripts for WWE.
And there's always more. So there's always going to be more.
And I always say there's always wait and see what the end story looks like. Just because you don't like a piece of the puzzle doesn't mean that you won't like the end story. Like,
right.
The end of the day, I didn't like parts of the bloodline, right? But I've enjoyed the entire story so far. So
now you want to talk about an entrance. The entrance for Roman Reigns is going to be incredible. And I am here for it. Roman Reigns probably has the best entrance music in WWE at this point. And his entrance is a sight to behold.
He has definitely stood out as a heel, as the tribal chief. And yes, I would say he's got a badass entrance. However,
but here we go. So the same problem I had with the main event for night 1, I don't want to see in this match at night 2. I don't want to see Roman Reigns hit Cody with everything, including the kitchen sink, and Cody to just kick out, and be dominated for 20 minutes and then to win at the end. I want to see an actual back and forth wrestling match between these two superstars that leave people wanting more when it's over and just being amazed with what they saw, other than like, oh, Roman just fucked them up for 20 minutes and then Cody won. That's not what we need. And I don't care how Cody wins. I think Cody needs to win. Roman Reigns is supposed to be taking some time off. And we're not saying Roman Reigns can't come back from his time off and win these belts back. But I think it's time. We're going on SummerSlam will be 3 years as Roman is champion. That would never work these days with a face. But with a heel, it works. But to me, it's been long. But it's time to do something else. You've got to split these belts up if both shows need to have a world champion. So either split the belts up or it becomes one belt.
Or put it on somebody that can be there.
But put it on somebody. But I'm okay with him not being there every week. We didn't see Hogan every week back in the 80s. And I mean, hell, you didn't see Hogan every week during his 90s run in WCW, especially when he was a face. He was gone a lot. But I'm okay with that kind of stuff. But you do have to show up periodically, and I would like to see the belts be defended on TV periodically, not every week. The one thing that would hurt Cody Rhodes more than anything would be to win these titles from Roman Reigns and then defend it every single fucking time you turn around.
Cheapens the belt.
So give it time. Let him go a few weeks and have him wrestle on TV once a month. Have him wrestle at the pay-per-views. I always think your title needs to be defended at the pay-per-views, unless it's some kind of special attraction match where your champion is in a tag team match or something like that. Your title should always be defended. Unless we've gone through this with WCW back in the day. Oh, Hulk Hogan was your champion. You had 12 pay-per-views that year, and he showed up on 7 of them. What? So don't overvalue your belt by putting it out there so much people get tired of it, because I guarantee you that if Cody is shoved down our throat, the same thing's going to happen as what happened with John Cena, and the fans will turn on them. The 80s fans are a little bit different. Austin had a different type of attitude. He wasn't the goody two-shoes that John Cena turned out to be. He's not the goody two-shoes that Cody Rhodes is right now. He was a tweener, and he was the one face that nobody ever got tired of. So you have to keep that in mind, because if you shove Cody down our throats and give him to us every single freaking week, the people are going to turn on him in no time.
I think this is going to be a hell of a match. I think we talk again about coming full circle with Triple H's storylines. And, it started under Vince, and he continued to keep that storyline. He could have completely said, Cody Rhodes comes back, we're not putting him in the main event, right? Could have just regulated him to an IC belt. Threw him in the Rumble, put him at 30, had him win. This is completely full circle storytelling. Means a lot. Talking about Roman Reigns being the student of Dusty Rhodes during
time in FCW.
Yep, FCW. Yeah. And then
I mean, I like the way they've written the storyline for WrestleMania. The promos back and forth between the two have been gold.
Yep.
I don't really know why they had Cody go out and defeat the undefeated Solo Sikoa on a SmackDown right before WrestleMania. Didn't make sense. You could have saved that for the next pay-per-view. But it's stuff like that, though, that worry me.
Yeah.
That the fans will turn on Cody. because you saw it. John Cena was the hottest thing in wrestling until he won that title, and his gimmick kind of changed from the tough guy rapper to his like Marine hustle, loyalty, respect type gig, and people didn't buy that shit. They didn't care, and they stuck with it because the kids bought the merchandise. So that's where it becomes frustrating, because merchandise is how WWE books instead of like what the fans. Oh my God, you're true diehard fans that have the money. No, it's what you're buying your kids. And see, that's why the Attitude Era was different, is it wasn't based around kids.
Agreed. So, Dave, we got 5 minutes left before the pre-show starts on Peacock. Tell me what you're looking forward to the most, and how you would rate night 1 compared to what your thoughts are on night 2.
Out of 10, night 1 easily got a 9.5. It was very exciting. It was an incredible show. Super happy with everything I saw, other than the main event. The main event I wasn't a fan. Night 2, I think, could be just as good. I don't think Brock and Omos are going to really do much that's incredible. But everywhere else you look down the line, I kind of think the women tag team showcase probably won't do much for me either. But every other match I expect to be hard hit. We got 4 matches there. There could be a Bobby Lashley spot in there somewhere. I would like to see Bray Wyatt return if they're going to use him right. So there's something there for every wrestling fan to get their fix of. Your women's fans, I think you're going to get a great match with Bianca and Asuka. If you're a fan of the real hard-hitting style action, that triple threat Intercontinental title is going to give you everything you want there. And I really expect for Edge and Finn Balor to absolutely put on a show inside Hell in a Cell. And that every Hell in a Cell, I get weary of every Hell in a Cell, because it seems like they're always trying to top the other and do something stupid off the top of that cell, and I don't like it. So I think the Roman Cody match is going to end up being kind of like the main event last night. I think that's what we're going to get. Roman's going to dominate, and I think Cody wins at the end. And that's not really what I'm looking for, but I think that's what we're going to get. So I hope I'm wrong and it's a great match, but I don't see it playing out that way. But the match that I'm looking forward to most is Hell in a Cell. And I really want to see Finn Balor and Judgment Day finally get that win over Edge, and they move this story forward.
I would agree. I think the last 4 matches on the card tonight are the ones that I'm looking forward to the most. Out of everything, I hope tonight we get more surprises than what we did last night, just because I'm looking forward to either some returns or some debuts that we haven't seen in the company. So if not...
Yeah, I'd like to see some surprises. The only real surprise we got last night was Pat McAfee. I would much prefer Pat McAfee be on commentary tonight over Corey Graves. And that's not saying much, though, because I really like Corey Graves, but Pat McAfee's just the end-all be-all to me when it comes to commentary. I think he's really good with it. So I look forward to this being another great night of action. I think everybody's going to go home happy. Whether Roman wins or not, I still think people will be okay with however it plays out. I'd like to see some surprises, though. I don't think we got the real surprises that we were kind of hoping for last night. But hopefully tonight we do. But if not, that's okay too. I expect this to be a strong card from top to bottom anyway. And nobody puts on premium live events like WWE, man. So with that being said, thank you guys for joining us here from the Filter Free Popcast. That's Pop with a P, P-O-P cast, and PWmania.com. We really are glad that they give us this forum to do this for you guys and for us to get our names out there and to put content on their YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to PWmania's YouTube, subscribe to Filter Free Popcast on YouTube and on Twitter at FF Popcast. I'm Dave in the QC, at Dave in the QC on Twitter. And I am with Justin. He's at Justin Yent, Y-E-N-T on Twitter. Give us a follow. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of WrestleMania tonight. We're looking forward to hearing from you guys.